Hello all! Today we're going to talk about something slightly different because this is quite fresh news. Um, a survey was released by Blizzard and sent to random players as they usually do. We have these surveys in the past sent to X amount of random players. I've never got one about ideas they have or things they might want to explore further in their future games. I say games. I do mean different iterations of Warcraft, meaning Classic, Classic Plus, Retail, anything. So players get the survey randomly and starts off with a bit of a thank you note, and then they're testing multiple concept ideas that have come from other surveys, study groups, just ideas from the dead. Some things they're playing with in their minds, something that has been brought up as a think tank or something along those lines. And quite a few very interesting subjects here, especially the last one. The last one is a bit of a head scratcher, I will admit. So let's get started. The first one, pretty like box standard, the introduction of Shaman class to the Alliance. Now this is about a new version of WoW Classic. So this would mean in the base version, right? We could call it Classic Plus if you want, or perhaps a seasonal server. In the base version, vanilla era of Classic, they would introduce Shaman class to the Alliance. And it's funny that this is the first question, because the last one, before the head scratcher, is the reverse. You'll see in a moment. Collection tabs, and UI-based search system for pets, mounts, and toys, like we have now in Cataclysm. I think that should be a no-brainer. I personally like the collection tab. It's very handy. It's decluttering my inventory by quite a lot, and it kind of enables you to, collect mounts, collect pets without being encumbered in your bags and bags, right? So cool idea. But again, very box standard idea that's already implemented in a few classic editions, right? Account-wide collections. That just goes with the collection tab, making them account bound. So every mount, pet, or toy you get goes into your collection tabs, and that becomes account bound, like it is now in Cataclysm and the upcoming Mists of Pandaria. Great idea. Now this is a bit new. 1v1 dual arenas. So imagine the normal arena space, right? With the ranks, the ladder matches, whatever you call them. I don't do PvP, so I'm a bit out of my bloody comfort zone. But 1v1 dual arenas. And it's viewable by spectators. So that's a pretty cool addition. Like that, I don't think that's in retail. I don't really play retail, but I think that's pretty cool. I mean, if you like PvP and it has a big audience, why not? I mean, it could become something quite fun. New player character models. Character models similar to those used in retail. I think that's a preference. Some people prefer those character models, some people don't. I personally think if you're playing Classic, stick to what you know best. I kind of prefer the old character models, not gonna lie. The animations are less janky than the retail models, I would say, but that's a preference, right? That's my own preference. But it's cool that they ask player what they want, right? I mean, if you wanna play Classic with the new character models, maybe, not sure if that's possible or not, maybe there could be a toggle, right, for people who want to do that. If you still want to play with the old Classic models, you can. If you want to play with the new character models, you can too. That's a win-win, right? In-game events. Now, we have many in-game events, seasonal and all that jazz. But these are new events, so they offer a different style of gameplay, small quests, casual gameplay, and they would put these things between large updates. So think about your raid updates, right? Between Molten Core, BWL, ZG, AQ, and so forth and so forth. I think that's a great addition. Classic era, as we know, is very raid centric, right? You level up your character to dungeons, progress through raids. You can do PvP. That's also a branch, but if you're more on the casual side, right, very casual, like myself included, this is a very personal take. I don't have the time to raid, so if they introduce small in-game events, yeah, I'm all for it. Fantastic, go for it. Pet battles released in Mists of Pandaria. Can you put them in vanilla? Now, that's interesting. I don't mind that. Pet battles are cool. Look, I am a die-hard Pokemon fan. Love the Pokemon games. I will be playing pet battles in Mists of Pandaria. If they put that in vanilla, sure, I think it's an excellent feature. It's, again, more content aside from raiding and PvP, right? It's you can get more collecting pets, and then you can use them for pet battles. Fantastic, more content, fun. Leveling professions improvement. Okay, so the ability to make more usable gear for yourself as you level, and be able to craft it at level appropriate trade skill levels. Yes, 100% yes. Like, I've been playing hardcore for a bit, and in that hardcore version, I have a hunter who has leatherworking. And it would be cool if I can make more stuff from a hunter at the appropriate skill level. Like, it's all fine and dandy until you reach level, I want to say, mid 20s to 30s, and then it kind of starts to fall behind. And well, unless you farm hard, right? If you keep farming leather, I'm sure you can catch up. But in a normal gameplay where you progress through zones and don't stop to farm, it would be nice if your professions scale with that as well. How they're gonna do that, I'm not sure. They'll have to rebalance a lot of things. And again, this is pretty much player perspective as well. Like, you have people who say, that's fine, you should be leveling your profession and grinding up your material because it's an MMORPG. I get that. I get that. 10 years ago, hell, 20 years ago, I would have agreed with you. Now, from a perspective of having less time, I would like to see that addition. Yeah. Now, a brand new class ability and or spells unique to this version of Classic. Look, that's cool. Look, it has been done before. We talked about Season of Discovery. They've included spells from upcoming expansions, like from Cataclysm, Wrath, and even Retail has a few additions in there as well. But I think here, this is unique to this version of Classic. So would this be a brand new spell, never seen before in any iteration of Classic? Hey, new content? A fresh take on the class? Sure, why not? It worked wonders for Season Discovery, like a healing mage. Fantastic, right? I enjoyed a tanking warlock. Chef's kiss. Great additions. If they do that in Era or Vanilla, yep, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. And then we go to the next page here. Honor rewards redesign. Okay, it has honor grind is horrible in Classic. It just is, right? It's way they want to move away from the original WoW model and more towards the seasonal model, as we have now in Cataclysm, right? With seasons. So your PvP gear kinda is in line with the PvE raid tier gear. So I think that's a good thing. I think PvP now is better than it is in Era. Like, I'm not a big PvPer. Hell, I don't PvP at all. But I think PvP now is more enjoyable than it was during Vanilla. Now, this is going to be controversial. The WoW token. We all know what the WoW token is. It's a split preference there. I know people are against it. I know people are for it. But regardless how you feel about the WoW token, putting the WoW token in an iteration of a game means it's a long-term plan. It's not going to be anything seasonal. Because it's going to be there for a while, right? Because it builds up and accumulates. Look, I don't mind WoW tokens. I never did. But it just shows you they're thinking about a game mode, an iteration of Classic. That's probably not going to be seasonal, but rather not an evergreen, an ever evolving edition. That's what I think. That's just my take on it, right? Class talent adjustments. Okay, this is an easy one. Streamlining and improving class talent trees to make weaker specs and classes more viable, and maintaining the overall feel and flow of classic combat. Now this is perfect, because how many meme specs do you have in classic, right? Realistically, we have a few. Retribution Paladin being one, Protection Paladin being one at endgame. And this is merely a Paladin perspective, because that's usually the class I go for. It's my favorite class, right? But I think that's fantastic if you can make those specs viable. Shaman Tank, for example. And there's a few other, like Boomkin in vanilla. If that becomes viable, that's fantastic, right? The more enjoyable for everyone to do. I think that's a good start. Now, account-wide perks and progression system. Okay, a system allows to gather points and spend them on account-wide bonuses. This is a weird one. It's not achievement points. I know those are points as well, and perks. But this is a system to allow you to gather points and spend them on account-wide bonuses, such as quality of life convenience, something for your alts, or specializing in specific activities. This is a very, very broad question. Specializing in specific activities. I honestly don't know what they mean by this. But if they introduce a system where you accumulate points, and you can spend them in like let's say like a trading post kind of environment, I don't see anything wrong with that if it's cosmetic or if it's something to help you level alts, for example. I don't have any issue with that. If you can buy heirlooms, for example, for your alts, that's great. As long as it's not like a player power thing, cool. Now this is a weird one. This has been the talk since original WoW. Playable high elves. Okay, the playable high elf race for Horde and Alliance. Okay, cool. What about ogres? what about Murlocs? No, it's just like, okay, it's one idea. Don't think that's a great idea. Do you have to shoehorn a race in there again? Don't think that's necessary, really. Would be cool to see, but I don't think that's needed. Now, this is a big one, and you know I love this one. Revisiting known but unexplored zones. So, zones that are part of the Warcraft history, but never playable in original WoW. Mount Hyjal, Oldham, Gilneas. I'm gonna lop in there unfinished quest lines. Like, if you can expand that entire player experience and include those zones, because those zones were originally intended for release of original WoW. They just didn't have time enough to finish them. I think that's great. It's just extra content. Makes the game feel a bit more fresh, as I say. Now, player housing. It's coming in midnight. It's coming in midnight in retail. And so they have the framework to do it, right? They have the framework, they have the know-how to do it. Instance personalized housing for players and guilds. The last one's important. And guilds. I would love to see this. Love it. Put it in. Achievements. We know what achievements are. Um, we have it since Rot. Yeah, Rot in Classic. I like achievements. Again, it's extra content. It's more stuff for you to do. If you don't like doing, that's fine. It's not necessary. But there are people who like to achievement hunt. I'm one of them. I like achievements. I will happily do them. Cross-realm play, that should be a no-brainer. Ability to group with friends from other realms for dungeons, battle groups, and other instant activities. That's cool. What I want to see is, for example, I play on an EU server, a PvE EU server, Pirate Village, and then my friend plays on a different EU PvE server. Would be cool if we could group up. Oh, I think that'd be cool. It's a nice addition. It's a niche thing, but it's nice. Quality of life again. Then we have honor system redesign. Now this is a bit in line with the seasonal thing for the honor system. A ground up redesign of the honor system, removing the hard honor cap, making the system more evergreen and continually engaging. That means an entire new honor system. What they have in mind with that, I'm not entirely sure. But it's continually engaging. So it's what I hear there, it's accumulating, right? So it keeps you busy. For the PvP players, that's cool. You never run out of things to do, right? That's what you want. And then also war mode. People who play retail or have been playing retail for a while know what war mode is. It's an opt-in to do world PvP, and it comes with certain bonuses. You can have a certain player power if you toggle on war mode because it's deemed more dangerous, right? Because it's world PvP. I've never done it, even though I've seen it before. I've shortly played some retail, but I never done it. Like, it's a cool thing to have. Why not include it? It's a feature that works. Why not? Brand new zones, completely new playable areas with unique lore added to the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. Yes, no brainer. 100% yes. Put it in. New zones, like brand new. We haven't, not Hyjal, not Oldham, not Gilneas. No, something brand spanking new. That's fantastic. They're actually playing with the idea to just put in new zones and expand the lore. That's great. That's great. 20 player raids, 40 player raids. I prefer 20 player raids because they're easier to manage. Right, 40 player raids, okay, nostalgia grasses. I have them too, I've done them in the past. They're fun, but as a raid leader, they are a bloody nightmare. A nightmare to organize these things. 20 player raids, it's a more tight knit group, it's more manageable. If you have the roster for it, you can run 2, 3, 4 20 player raids, being mains and alts. You can do what you want, really. I'm all for 20 player raids and dungeons. Graphical improvements, lighting, shadows, and surface actions. Okay, that's cool. That should be in as an option. Not everybody has a good PC. I know it's only WoW Classic. You can probably learn it on a calculator. But if you want the modern technology to improve all things, it should be a toggle, I think. New trade skills, new primary and secondary professions. Yep, I like professions. I like having an army of alts with all my professions so I can be self-sufficient. Adding more flavor into that, fantastic. And it's a new primary and secondary profession. That's cool. Cool to play with that. Again, graphical texture improvements, cool. Again, that's to just up your graphical fidelity. Should be a toggle, should be in. I think that's a great idea. New battleground, new objective-based PvP instance. Why not finish the battlegrounds that were never released, like the Ajara Crater one? That was never released. That looked kind of cool. And the battle for the brewery, the Mist of Pandaria one that never was released. Great concept, never been done. There was a certain battleground that was a bit of a MOBA style one, like League of Legends or Heroes of Storm. And why not? Why not? Again, it's new content for PvP players to do, or even casual players to do. New race and class combos, including those never before seen in Warcraft. Now, okay, when they say never before, do they mean in Warcraft Classic? That's the question. If they mean in general, that's something cool I would like to see. But again, that's going to be one toughie to balance with all the current ones. But if they want to experiment on these things, why not? Why not? And then we have the new class. The character class is completely new to any version of World of Warcraft. Any version of WoW. So not Dead Knights, not monks, not demon hunters, nor evokers. Well, well, well. Something completely new. Sure. I kind of want to see what they come up with. They have so many options there. So many options. You have a bard. Cool. Bards are cool, right? We have different iterations of rogues we can have. But it's going to be something completely new. I would love to see that. 10-player raids. Cool. Fantastic. Just like a 20-player raids. I love smaller raid teams. And it's just more easy to manage. Cross-realm guilds. Cool. Another fan of cross-realm guilds. I know that you have them in retail. I don't particularly see the point of doing that in Classic. But yeah, if you have friends on other realms in the same, I assume the same zone, right? EU or PvE, PvP. Sure, it probably is going to be a niche thing, but why not? Why not? Transmogs. Yeah, cool. I like transmogs. And it's a part of the game I sometimes engage with when I have them on Paladin. It should be an option. You can, because it adds more content to your game as well. You can farm other things to just get the right item for your transmog set. And now, like the first question, where we introduced shamans to the Alliance, why not have paladins to the Horde as the last question? Just like the first one, is that if that's a normal era, fantastic. I don't see any issues with that. And here comes the head scratcher. Regardless of which version of WoW is your current main version, what version of WoW do you think you will become your main version of WoW in the future once Classic Mists of Pandaria ends? So here's what they want to know, right? What should we do when MOB ends? How they define these options is weird as hell. Okay, so we have a classic era, vanilla style server, so evergreen era, right? With my Mists of Pandaria characters. How? How will they do that? A level 90 character scaling back to 60. What about the gear? What about the pets and the mounts? It's weird. It's weird. And they do this throughout the list, right? A different version of Classic, without my Mists of Pandaria characters. Okay, retail Modern WoW with my Mists of Pandaria characters. That one makes the most sense, right? Because most you upscale, right? You don't downscale. Lich King Classic or any other earlier Classic expansion with my Mists of Pandaria characters. And this is going to be the one that's probably going to happen. Classic Warlords of Draenor if it becomes available. Let's be honest, we all know they want to do Legion Classic, right? It's a no-brainer to go to Legion. In between you have Warlords, which was a plagued expansion, but it was plagued because it was long-winded, right? The content in itself wasn't too bad. People loved the raids. Like, I've never played WoD, right? But from what I heard, the raids are fantastic. If they just increase the cadence, I think Warlords of Draenor could actually be pretty good. I mean, Cataclysm wasn't bad. Cataclysm wasn't bad. People loved this, like dish on Cataclysm. It wasn't bad. And then you have a permanently frozen Mists of Pandaria Classic with no further updates. So an evergreen mob server. Sure, cool, why not? And I do not plan to play WoW. Okay. Pretty interesting things. Food for thought. Now, keep in mind, 90% of this will not happen. This is ideas they have. They thrown it into a think tank, and this is a survey they've come up with. But it's interesting to see into what direction they're moving the game. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know. Thank you all for watching and listening, and I'll be seeing you on the next one. Bye now.